What might physical symptoms be trying to communicate to you? Stay tuned. This is Damon from NLP Gym, NLP and Health. If you haven't already, please click subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can get these videos on a regular basis. When I was a teenager in high school, I was really shy around girls. So I started to notice that the guys who were on the football team and the guys who were on the track team and basically the stars of these teams were getting most of the attention from the girls in school. And I really wasn't into those sports. So I decided to start weightlifting and try to make my muscles bigger and make my physique really nice so that the girls would start to notice me as well. It didn't work out so well. I was terribly skinny, and I was what bodybuilders call a hard gainer, someone whose metabolism is really fast. So it was really difficult for me to put weight on. I got stronger, which was great, and I got healthier, but it didn't really produce the results that I wanted, and even if it did, I don't think the girls would have noticed that much anyway because I was pretty shy. I kind of got addicted to working out. There was something to it that I enjoyed. I enjoyed the competitiveness with myself. What I started doing is, as it wasn't working, basically my muscles weren't getting bigger, I decided to work out longer. I decided to work out harder. And what started to happen, I didn't realize at the time, is I would overtrain my body and then I would get sick. It might come on like a common cold or the flu, and I would have to quit working out for a few weeks. Once I got better, I went back into the gym and started training really hard again, and once again I overtrained, got sick. I just kept repeating the same cycle over and over. After a while I started to understand what was happening, and over the years I got better at that. I started working out less and started seeing better results, especially as I got older and my metabolism started to slow down. But I always felt like my body was something separate from my mind, or that mentally I would look at my body as being something separate that I would work on, push and pull and try to make stronger, try to make more flexible, try to make my muscles bigger. It was coming from a place of being separate from my body, and in other words, I was at war with my body. Eventually I found yoga, which helped quite a bit. Ashtanga is a very physically demanding style. And I was very ambitious and ended up injuring my left knee twice, and once to the point where I had to get surgery because I tore my meniscus. After surgery, my knee never quite went back to the same way, and it limits me to this day in my yoga practice. What does this all have to do with NLP? It wasn't until I started using NLP and applying it to my physical health and applying it to my body that I really started to understand that the mind and the body are really one thing. They're two parts of one whole, you being the whole. It also happens that they work much better when they work together, instead of one trying to push or pull the other one. Now what I do is I take a physical symptom that I might be experiencing, like pain or an ache or even getting sick, and I open myself to what is my body trying to communicate to me? What might this be about? I'm not 100% sure that it's always about that. Maybe it could be just you pick up a bug or something. That might just be the case. But I want to open the communication to my body. I also want to open the communication to the unconscious parts of my mind. Sometimes we have really uncomfortable thoughts, or sometimes we have really uncomfortable feelings that just seem to come out of nowhere. Instead of blocking those things out, what I like to do is I like to just ask my unconscious, or ask my body, what is it trying to communicate to me? And what is its positive intent? Always assuming that it has a positive intent. Even the most disturbing thoughts or the most uncomfortable or unpleasant feelings or the most uncomfortable or unpleasant aches or pains, I'm going to assume that whatever part of me is causing that has some sort of positive intent behind it. And I might even go second position with that part of me. I might go second position with the thought or the feeling, or I might go second position with the pain. So I step into the pain or I step into the thought and ask it, okay, what am I trying to do here? What is the positive intent here? A lot of times when I experience aches or pains, it's really about slowing down and paying more attention to my body and being more conscious of what it is I'm doing with my body. For feelings and thoughts, a lot of times it's things that I've pushed off and decided not to deal with, that inevitably I have to deal with at some point. So it might, in the way that it gets my attention, is it gives me something that doesn't feel so well, or a thought that's very disturbing, and it's like, okay, now I need to pay attention. There's something there I need to look at, I need to address. Steve Gilligan has an amazing way of approaching this, and he says something to the effect of, when he's working with someone and they're presenting a symptom, that could be a problem, it could be a physical pain, it could be mental suffering or emotions or something like that, and he always starts off by saying, "That's interesting. I'm sure it makes sense. It sounds like something needs to be held, healed, or transformed." That's really an amazing approach to take with anything you're experiencing, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional, where you're not rejecting this part of you. You're not rejecting any part of your feelings or your thoughts or your body. You're realizing that it's trying to do something positive to you, and that maybe it just wants to be held. Maybe it needs some healing. Or maybe it's something that's very powerful, and all you need to do is transform it. There have also been times where I neglected my body. I stopped working out. I stopped eating right. And at those times, I started to gain weight, and my cholesterol levels hit an unhealthy weight. I don't believe really in laziness. It's easy to blow this off and just say, "I'm lazy." Or it's easy to look at someone else and call them lazy. My experience with laziness is it takes just as much effort, sometimes more, to be lazy than to not be lazy. When you don't do stuff that you are supposed to do, there's always going to be a negative consequence to it, and there's always going to be that phase of catching up and working harder to catch up. And so laziness is really not a way out. It's not an answer. Laziness may be an appropriate strategy for some contexts, but I would say for most contexts, it's not a good strategy. What I recommend you do is, if you're experiencing a disturbing thought, a feeling that is unpleasant, or a physical symptom, go second position with that symptom and ask it, what is it doing for you that with a positive intent? This can be very powerful because you're also accepting this part of you. Acceptance is not only the end of suffering, acceptance is the beginning and the foundation of taking action and true aliveness. Some people think of acceptance as giving up or giving in. And you can do that. You can accept and just be like, "Oh, okay, I'm a bad person. Oh, I'm just lazy." But that's not true acceptance. True acceptance is accepting where you are right now. And from that point, you can then decide what is in your control and what is not in your control. Some things are just not in our control, and so there's no point in worrying about those things. I know this is easier said than done, but the more you make it a practice, the easier it will get. So accept that part of yourself. Then determine, what do you have control over, what do you not have control over. The things that you do have control over, go for it. Start making something happen. It's much easier when you start from a place of acceptance rather than trying to will it into place or will yourself to take action. Start with acceptance. Much easier to start from there. When you open yourself to what the symptom is communicating to you, and you ask it what it's communicating to you, don't always expect an answer. In fact, the first few times you try it, you might get no answer whatsoever. It's not as important that you get an answer as you are opening yourself to having a communication or a dialogue with your body, having open communication with the unconscious parts of your mind. This is extremely powerful. When you start to open that channel, then the unconscious more easily becomes conscious. Your body, you start to have a sensitivity and awareness with your body that allows you to kind of know what's going to happen well before it happens, or prevent things from happening that could show up, physical symptoms that might be starting to happen, but because you're so aware of your body and you have that open communication with it, you start to sense it, and then you can take a different direction. And a really important thing to remember is not to blame or shame yourself, and not to blame or shame any parts of you. This may work as a temporary, very short-term strategy, but in the long run, this is a very bad strategy. It's destructive, and nothing good will come of it. Acceptance is the key here. Blame and shame is not going to be helpful. It's not helpful doing that to other people. It's not helpful doing that to yourself. Physical health is not just about counting calories. It's not just about eating right. It's not just about weight. It's not just about taking medicine, undergoing surgery, undergoing treatments. True healing really starts by accepting, total acceptance of yourself. It's the first step to healing and transforming yourself. Remember, your mind and body are not separate. They're two parts of one whole, which works so much better when they work together to serve you, the whole you. Check out our website, nlp-gym.com. Follow us on Facebook for real-time updates on upcoming workshops and free practice sessions I hold right here in Santa Cruz. If you like this video, please click like right down here and leave me a comment or a question. I will follow up with you. Stay tuned to the end of this video where you can see how you can get your hands on a free online NLP training. Check out my last workshop of the year, NLP Values Elicitation and Hypnotic Installation. It'll be October 22nd and 23rd here in Santa Cruz. You don't want to miss this. Take care.